Hello and welcome. We're coming to you live from Amman, Jordan, in the run-up to the World Economic Forum taking place at the Dead Sea. In many parts of the world, in the Muslim world particularly, young women are killed by their male relatives, usually their brother or father, for having extramarital relations. It's called honor killings, but most people see it as murder, committed in response to the shame the woman is said to have brought on the family. The United Nations estimates that 5,000 women are killed each year around the world. In Pakistan alone, in 2006, at least 565 women were victims of honor killings. And here in Jordan, although there are no official statistics, it's estimated that between 25 and 30 women are murdered each year. And many women are killed just on the suspicion of having committed adultery or for protesting against a forced marriage. The laws of the land have not caught up with this ancient practice, whose roots predate Islam, and often the killer gets off with a very light sentence, such as 6 months in prison. Now, in a culture where everyone knows your history once you tell them your family name, we ask, what is the price of honor? Don't forget, you can call in with your questions and comments at the numbers at the bottom of your screen. Well, joining me to discuss this issue is Rana Husseini, who was one of the first Jordanian journalists to raise their voice on this issue almost 15 years ago. She's the author of the upcoming book, Murder in the Name of Honor. And also with us here is Sari Nasser, who's a lecturer of sociology at the University of Jordan. It's good to have you both here. Rana, I have to start with you and ask you how you got involved with this particular topic, because I gather it's quite a sad and interesting story, though.
Yeah, shortly after I started working for the Jordan Times in 1994, I came across a very sad story of a 16-year-old girl who was killed by her family because she got raped by one of her brothers. Now, this is not something common here in Jordan, but that story back then really made me so sensitive, and I was so upset because that girl was a victim more than 5 or 6 times. And after I covered that story, I started going to courts, and I discovered that killers were getting away with lenient sentences. And I discovered that, you know, most of the times it's usually the women who are being killed. They're singled out, and they're held accountable for any wrongdoing within their families.
Of course, Professor Sari Nasser, this is an issue, a problem that has taken place across the world in many countries, not just in the Middle East. It's happening in places like Pakistan and so on. What is the motivating force? What is the justification people give for honor killings?
Well, I mean, when we look at the traditional societies, you find that tradition is more powerful than law, in the sense that people have lived with these traditions for a long, long time. And these people tend to feel that, you see, if a member of their family tends somehow to behave in a way that might reflect on the family, they feel that they have to punish it. Now, usually, when it comes to girls and when it comes to sex, etc., you find that this brings shame on the family, and they tend somehow to get rid of them. However, if males do misbehave, say, nothing is really done. And this is part of the patriotic society.
Yeah, and it's not just an issue of happening just in Islam. I mean, we're seeing it more in Islam perhaps than in other places.
You see, it is really happening all over. It is very unfortunate, I feel, that it is called honor killing. It's a crime. It is considered by the law as a crime, but it is not considered as crime by tradition. I mean, tradition does not really consider it as a crime.
We've got a caller on the line already, obviously a very emotive subject. David in England, thanks for joining us. What's your question, David?
Yes, good evening, Ray, and good evening to your panel. I just wanted to find out, why is it that the International Court of Law is not making this issue an international criminal law, which could be dealt with? Because I don't believe anyone has got the right to kill the other. I mean, when you talk about religion, it is God, Allah, who created human being, and I believe He's the only one that's got authority over human life. So
right. David, thank you. I'm going to put that to Rana. I mean, it's true, as you investigate this, you know, could this be something the International Criminal Court could take up as a subject?
I think, I mean, I wish this could happen, but I think really we need to try to work on this issue within our own communities before we take it to an international court. I think we have the will here in Jordan. We've been fighting this issue for a long time. You know, there were some laws that were proposed for amendments that didn't pass, but I think the movement by the government to make these amendments sort of raised awareness about this issue in Jordan.
What stopped the laws being changed?
I think a combination of things, mainly the way they were presented by the government. There was a strong lobby within the parliament against us. They sort of tried to accuse us of being Western agents. And you know, the people here in this part of the world are very sensitive when they think that it comes from the West, although it was something that we really initiated. It was a grassroots movement in Jordan that started in the mid-90s.
Professor, I want to put an email we got from Gil Hughes in Canada and get your response to this. And our viewer in Canada says, killing for honor defeats the purpose of honor. Religious killings are born of man's ignorance and should be condemned by all thinking people. But obviously, as you say, this is something in a culture, as you were saying just a moment ago, it's not seen as a crime.
No, it is not really considered as a crime by tradition. However, I think the whole issue is improving in the sense that now you have honor crimes in tribal societies. Now, the more the tribal society moves to a civil society, I think it would be less and less. So I feel that crime, as it is perceived by the West, or as killing, is really part of the culture and part of the tradition, part of the way of life. You see, and now this is receding, it's passing away.
Rana, tell me about the work you do, because you take a lot of trouble to follow up the cases and document them. I mean, you're quite tenacious about the subject.
Yeah, I sort of try to follow every case I hear about. I try to document every murder, every court verdict, because I believe that these women, mostly women, because there are some men who get killed, these women are robbed from their right to live. So I try throughout my career in the Jordan Times to at least document that these women lived on this earth and died, because the problem was that in the Arabic press this issue was not reported, and I got criticized in the beginning because I was reporting in English, but I said I had to do it. I had to document these cases and hope that someday somebody would hear me. And I think in Jordan I was heard, and other women NGOs also worked on the issue, and we were heard.
Now, of course, as I pointed out, it's not a problem exclusive to Jordan. It goes much wider. But when I look at the Middle East, it's such a vibrant part of the world. There's so much energy. There's so much discussion of things. There are so many educated people. I wonder, why isn't this debated to the point where something is done about it from within society?
I have to disagree with you, because in Jordan there was a big debate, and I believe that our debate and our activism for the past, I would say, 5 to 6 or 7 years, has encouraged other countries in the region as well. I believe in Syria now, it has become a very big issue for the past 2 years. It's become there is a Grand Mufti is talking against it. They're talking about almost 300 cases every year. In Yemen, there is some movement also there, in Egypt, in Lebanon. So I think that the movement we did in Jordan sort of encouraged other countries to follow suit.
Now, Professor, I'm presuming that education is a big factor here. If tradition is winning out here in judgment of whether or not this is a crime, it's a matter of education as well. How much effort is there, do you think, to really educate people about
Well, I mean, more and more people are being educated. But you see, the question is that it is related to the change of the family. I mean, the family at one time was an extended family, whereby the family felt, you see, that they have to protect themselves. Now, when this changed or is changing, you find that we have the nuclear family or the small family. Now here, what we have is that the family doesn't really feel that they are obliged or they are responsible for the rest of the members of the family, because now it has been really reduced to small components, so to speak. And therefore, brothers don't feel as they have felt or as they feel
in the traditionals, yes.
The way they felt in the extended family.
Not as protective or sort of aggressively protective, yeah. We have another caller. Saeed's on the line from Tehran. Good to hear from Iran. Go ahead, Saeed.
Hi, Rez. This is Saeed Asam Javed from Tehran.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Go ahead with your question. Yeah, go on. Ask your question, please.
Yes, Rez. First of all, congratulations on bringing up such sensitive topics and very good topics and creating awareness around the world, especially in the Middle East. I have a comment and a small question as well to the participants. Usually, from the discussion, what I can see is that this world, especially the Muslim world, seems to be a man-dominated world. Now, they are talking about traditions and rules and laws. I have been living in the Middle East for the last 15 years, and I can see that men do much more than what women usually do. Women are much more religious and straightforward, but there is not even a single law I have seen where somebody can question the behavior of a man. Now, is it not true?
Okay, Saeed, I'm going to put this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on.
In fact, I would like to ask: isn't it true that we lack rules and regulations which are equal to women and men? Even the religion taught us that both men and women in their behavior are same.
Saeed, let me get that question across. Saeed, I'm going to get that question across to the professor first. Then, I mean, Saeed's pointing out the disparity in laws when it comes to men and women.
Well, I mean, in patriotic societies, you find that men are responsible for the family and for, especially for women, and therefore you find that men have the power. Men tend somehow really to feel that they are the protectors of especially the female members. And as a result, you find that males tend somehow to escape any punishment, whereas women feel, the family feels, you see, that it's a matter of honor, that they tend somehow to tarnish the reputation of the family.
Well, interestingly enough, Rana, your book is Murder in the Name of Honor, and that's the sort of irony in this, and that many people see there is no honor in this. And I wonder, I mean, which elements of society do you feel the most resistance from? Is it one particular aspect of society? Is it the less educated, or do you find that it's across the board?
From my experience and investigating these crimes, I felt that it mostly happens among the lower middle class, mostly poor, uneducated, maybe with weak religious beliefs, where it's a crowded place, the word of mouth travels quickly, so the family find no solution but to eliminate their female member.
And yet in places like Britain, there are communities that are also, perpetrating these sort of crimes.
Yeah, I think part of my book is going to cover this aspect of migrants and how women are also killed in migrant communities, the conflicts, the psychological and social background, how families are struggling there because they come from a different background and then they get shocked with the openness of their new community and they try to adjust, and as Dr. Sari said, it becomes even more they try to control their female relatives in a much more, I think, violent way than it happens here.
Well, let's get another caller on the line. Anwar is on the line from London. Anwar, thanks for being with us. What's your question?
Hello, assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, go ahead. Just ask a question. Ask your question, please.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you, Rez.
Okay, just please ask your question straight through.
If you can hear me, I'd just like to ask the professor, if you understand the biological psychology of a woman and a man, it has always been the fact that women have a very delicate sense to their sexuality and the memory. And as a Muslim, I would say that the Islamic laws which have been laid out in the Quran and in the Sunnah are for the protection of the woman, because woman is the only person, a creation on earth, which God created to carry on the human race. And as for the honor killing is concerned,
Okay, listen, very quick. Anwar, we're out of time, so I'm going to ask the professor to quickly just respond to this.
I mean, there's no question at all that women are more sensitive than males, but still we have that fact that men are responsible for women and they control women. And this has been really the case throughout history, that women have been always looked upon as second citizens or second sex.
Rana, just a quick wrap-up thought here, with a minute to go. Do you see improvement? Do you see progress in trying to deal with this issue?
Yes, I think that I'm going to talk about Jordan because we're in Jordan. I think we managed to raise awareness, break the taboo. I mean, if you talk to anyone now in the street, they all know about, almost everyone knows about this, that these crimes take place. Even the other day I had a public lecture and young men stood up and they were asking me what to do. I really felt that, you know, there is some kind of movement. That people are starting to be aware, become aware of these things, and they really want to find a solution for this.
Well, thank you very much for being with us, and good luck with the publishing of your book. Murder in the Name of Honor is the name of the book, and thank you. And Dr. Sari as well, thank you for being with us and discussing this topic. All right. Thank you for being with us. On the next show, we're going to be speaking with the top-ranking UN official responsible for the millions of Palestinian refugees here in Jordan and throughout the Middle East, when UNRWA Commissioner General Karen Koenig Abu Zaid joins us. Now, don't forget, if you have any thoughts about pressing issues from around the world, you can send your emails to riz@aljazeera.net. We'll see you next time. Street Talk is coming up next.